Hey folks, how are you? Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. Getting out of work this morning. I work night shift, so I'm always thinking and reflecting upon my day being my night. And I remember something I want to tell you guys when it comes to you fearing failure. When you fear failing in life, when you fear, what if, what if I fail without even trying? I was in my men's group where we meet in money mindset, and shout out to Coach Greg Adams for having the money mindset. And one of the guys, everyone talks about, I want to do a YouTube channel. I want to do this. I want to do that, but I'm not sure. And I had to tell him, I said, listen, man, sometimes in life, you got to get started and fail a little bit in order to learn what you're going to master. And one of the gentlemen said something that was very impactful. And he said that the teacher has failed more than the student has tried. The master or the teacher has failed more than the student has tried. That resonated with me because the person that becomes a master has gone through a series of trial and error, trial and effort and failure. This worked, that didn't work, this worked, that didn't work. And what happens is sometimes people are so focused on trying to find perfection that they will never find their way because they're too scared to fail. They're trying to find success through perfection and not success through failure. Now, I'm not saying be perfect at failing, but through a series of failures, you can find success. You can know the things you should do by the things that you do wrong that are not working. You can find out what works out in life. One can make a series of mistakes until they find something that works. If you are consistent and persistent long enough, you will be able to find the solution to a problem, but you will never find the solution to a problem if you do not work on the problem. And work on the problem means identifying what the problem is first, seeing what doesn't work, why the problem is, where you're failing at with the problem, and then what are you doing and what are you testing out that is going to solve the problem. You got a lot of people today, they just stay in the problem or stay in the pre-problem phase where they're going to just sit here and ignore, deny, just think that somehow it's going to go away if I just don't look at it. And a lot of people in life, they never get going because they never get started. They're too worried about what if, ands, maybes, this. They're stuck in what I've always said before is the fear phase. The fear of, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I've told them too as well, even with my channel. The channel started off as just land, and then we needed to add something to it. Then we started doing interviews. Then we started doing different kind of content. Then it became now, about the book, being an author, doing life insurance, still touching on land. Then it's more about my kids' journey with their journey as they're going to be inheriting the land. What you see is that sometimes where you start at is never where you're going to end up at. And you know why? That is strictly because you're always evolving through the process as you are creating. But a lot of times people get stuck on this one mindset. I got to have this one thing that I do. I'm not sure. I don't know. And it's a failure to launch. They never get started. When you start something and you start working on it, you start figuring things out. You start learning quicker ways to do anything like, counting. You start memorizing the sequence of numbers. You start memorizing the methods you took getting you, quicker to a solution than it was the first time when you try to solve it. If you have a problem that you work on, that you solve, and you get another problem that's similar, you retrace, your mind automatically brings those steps that you went to solve the last problem forward to now, and you will approach it with some of the methods or interventions that you use to try to solve this current problem now. And it works that way when you're doing things in life. But again, people are trying to get the right equipment, I want to get the right woman. I want to get the right kid. I want to get the right this. I want to get a house first. I want to get this first. Life doesn't work out that way where you're going to be able to get what you want first that comes. Sometimes in life, you have to take the opportunity as it's being presented to you and do that first, which means sometimes you might be doing things out of order, but it is not out of order in life. It is just out of order for what people say should be the way that you do it. I've owned more properties before I've owned a house. I've had more properties that I've owned than people who own homes. More pieces of real estate. And life's taken me a different route. But again, instead of looking at someone else's route, the way they're going through life, I have to look at my lane, what I'm doing. And you know what you see me doing? I'm continuously making videos. I'm still talking about my experience. I'm still working with my kids. I'm still working on my marriage. I'm still working in life. I have not given up. I refuse to fail because I refuse to stop trying. Even with the channel, I didn't get to 100,000 subscribers because I had the perfect video. There are some videos where they're just doing 2,000 and they're 4 or 5 years ago. They just hit 2,000 views. And I got videos that I just put out days ago that have eclipsed that and hit 5 to 10,000 views. But I didn't let that deter me. What happens is when you keep working on something, you find new ways to attack a problem. You find new ways to be creative. Like here's an example. I had a conversation with my wife who is a personal trainer. Shout out to my wife. She has to market day in and day out. And I keep telling her, does she market day in and day out? No. But she complains about not having enough clients to personal train. And I ask her, why are you not marketing day in and day out? You have to market and put yourself in front of people day in and day out because the person that might be looking to buy from you and your business may not be logged on today. Like yesterday, I slept all day yesterday because I worked last night. So I may not be on a site where I would be available to buy or look at and find her ad. But if it's there every day, I now have an increased chance of seeing that advertisement. And the reason why is because, again, I'm bumping up on the algorithm because I'm consistently posting. So if I'm not seeing it today, I might see it tomorrow. I might see it the next day. But if I post once in a while, I'm not going to get into people's feed because they may not even be seeing my advertisement day in and day out. Sometimes you're going past advertisements and you don't see them. You see them, but you don't notice them in a certain way. Then one day you're driving by the place. You're like, hey, I want to eat at this restaurant. I've seen this in an ad before. I've seen this in a brochure before. I want to eat. Let's eat here. And that's what you're getting. You get it through exposure. But a lot of people I post, I get client. I post a property of vacant land on Ancestry Lands, and someone just comes and buy it right away. You might have 1,000 views before you get a buyer. But again, people are they want perfection. They want the quick win. They want the quick hit rather than the process, the endless process of selling a property by talking to buyers. I've had more people hang up than I've had people I sold to. But I've been more confident in talking to people because I've had people hang up and I've heard all the objections on why a person would or would not buy a land, but just not today. And I've learned to become more thick-skinned with the fact that I didn't get that sale right away. And that only came through failing. And that gave me the confidence to say, hey man, I can write a book about what I've learned, what I've mastered. Because I failed buying properties that didn't pan out, other properties that did pan out, and I've learned through experience what works and what does not work for my model. And you only get that through trying. The master has failed more times than the student has tried. Because the student is so worried about failing, they don't see that through failure, you learn how to perfect. Because you don't make the same mistake twice if you're smart. And then we got to put that in there. You see that right now with the administration that's going on. I'm not trying to make this political, but it's like when you go through 4 years, you learn the things you did do, you didn't do right. If you go through a marriage, you learn the things you did do, did not do right. And the next one you go in trying not to make the same mistakes. You go through a relationship, you start finding out the person you do or don't want to be with. You find out what you tolerate. You find out what you don't tolerate. You have a child. The first child, you're going to make every little bit of mistake on. The second child, you get a little calmer, cooler because you've been here before. You've had a toddler before. You know what it's like when a child's, waking up in the middle of the night. Everything is not a crisis or an emergency when you have your second child. You get on a bike, you ride a bike, you fall off the bike. The next time you get on, you get the feel for a bike because it's not new. The novelty's worn off. But you get that through trial and error, not through I do it and I get perfection right away. That's not how it works. I say that to inspire people, to get people to understand that you cannot be afraid of failing in life. What you should be afraid of is failing to try, because you don't know when your time is up. You don't know how long you have on this planet. You don't know how many days you have left. I don't know how many sunrises I have. I don't know how many mornings I'm going to be able to make a video and come on and say, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. Buy my book, Getting Dollars from Dirt. How many days do I have left in my life to say that to people, to get the message out there? I don't know. But what I won't do is spend my days wasting the time, scared to get on and record. And you shouldn't be either. You need to be tenacious. You need to be voracious with the appetite to succeed, to get through that many X amount of failures. I'll say it this way. What if you did something 100 times and the 101 time was the time you succeeded? Do you have the courage to go through 100 failures to get to the 101 time that you do it to become successful? But again, you won't know if you stop at 50. You won't know if you don't try at all. But if you knew, you would go all the way to 101. If you knew there was a number of times you had to do something in order to be successful, you knew exactly the number, you would do it. Again, but having faith in yourself requires you venturing out into the unknown darkness of failure, potential failure, to find the light of success. The only question is, why are you not doing it? I'm going to leave you with that. Stop being afraid of your success because you're burdened by the labor or the cost of potential of failure. Stop being burdened by the possibility of failing when your success is beyond it. Because once you go through those successes, you will have something that you did not have when you started out and experienced your first failure. That is experience. And fortitude. The ability to get past your failure and get into success. You will have gained something from it. And that's what you're missing. Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. Yes, I just worked a 12-hour shift and I'm headed into the gym right now. Because again, I'm going to fail at having a great workout even though I'm dead tired. And that's how we get through life. Trying to overcome our possibility of failing because I just might have a damn good workout, folks. Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. Thank you, everyone, for watching the video. Thank you for all my subscribers. Thank you for all the people who are viewing. Even if you do just come and see this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.